Grand Risings. Peace, love, healing, and divine restoration from the Holy Spirit, our Creator, to anyone that this video comes across. Also, don't run, because my appearance is light warrior healing mode. Okay? The reason why you shouldn't run is because I'm here to share something very important with you, especially if you are in the matrix and you're seeking and on your healing journey. So I want to share some things about plant healing medicines that I have recently partaken in. Meaning, I have invited plant healing medicines into my physical being, my spiritual being. Pay no mind to the anti-EMF protection materials that I have on. The reason, I have it on is I just told you. And this is not the usual pretty or dolled up version of myself that I would broadcast on the internet or the social media. This is the reality of what it looks like when you have gone through battles with darkness that has tried to consume your entire being. And I'm drenched in sweat because I just finished 3 healing sessions. 3 healing sessions. I spent a little over an hour, about an hour and a half for these 3 healing sessions. These healing sessions were all directed or guided by me. I told myself to do it. My higher self told myself to do it because of the aforementioned. When you are continuously on this healing journey, there are lower vibrational beings that I really don't want to say may, but that will attempt to keep you in a state of lower vibrational things, right? So this is the rawness, that I've never shared before, or I've shared in different phases of my healing journey. In this phase, I am doing some healing work in a cabana, not quite in the jungle, but more so outside of the typical matrix, right? So, kind mamba, a frog that is actually found in the Amazon jungle. Bufo, another healing toad found in the Amazon, and different places that are not in the Matrix and are in the Amazon, in the jungles, in the wild. A lot of light warriors, a lot of advanced ascended beings, earth ascended masters, archangels, light warriors are seeking these different healing methods, because we have been on a healing journey for a long time here on this modern day earth, right? So Changa, a level of ayahuasca. So this is my combo tattoo. The experience which took place a few weeks ago, and I wanted to speak about it. Wasn't quite sure exactly how I would start speaking about it, but I definitely will be writing about it, or I started writing about it. Will take you to another realm spiritually, to begin to peel off the layers of who we actually are as spiritual beings on this earth plane. Especially when you are called and you're guided to supporting the highest good of mankind, womankind. I do want to offer some advice as well, if you are embarking on this healing phase of plant medicine. But first, I do want to talk about the layers that it strips off. I would just say, imagine getting connected to your rarest form from corporate America. Let's say that. Because that's the best way I can compare it to, for people who are seeking a certain higher consciousness of healing. It is stripping certain layers of perfection, of doing for validation, of people, of systems, of principalities, of denominations. And it's living, being connected with your truth of who we were brought here, or what we were brought here to do to begin with. So I'm going to share the 3 healing videos that I just did, and they were phenomenal. all together, my highest spirit kept calling me and saying, do 3. Do 3. And I was sweating and I'm perspiring. And I'm like, woo, honey. The first one was good. And I was releasing nervousness that I wasn't completely even sure or aware that was in my body. And because, you know, when you're healing, you're on a healing journey, you're doing this often for years, and, you know, you think you've purged the majority of whatever is foreign to your authentic being. But, you know, you also know when you have experienced inauthenticity, such as AI, programming, etc., etc., trauma, experiencing and communicating with dark beings are not of the light, or I would say unawakened, so sleeping beings that are unawakened, and lots of things that are done to keep you in such sleep states, which does not serve our highest purpose, right? Because if we are for humanity, then we can't possibly remain asleep when the Most High has called us to awaken, no matter where we are in this nation. So, a little bit about my healing journey. I've been on it consciously for 10 years now. And I have experienced some extreme trauma that assisted me in awakening to a part of my highest calling, which is healing, which is reconnecting with the authentic being that is within me, that is amongst the earth realm. Mami Natur, Mami Nature, Mother Nature, our Creator. So 10 years, right? For about 7, I would say 7, completely 6 of those years, nearly every single day, I was healing with doing sound healing, meditation, and yoga. Yoga is my best friend. And through a lot of this journey, my best friend has not always been with me. And my best friend is like all 3 of those: sound healing, meditation, yoga. It all connects me to the Most High, which is my extra best friend. Okay, let's be clear. But all of those elements, or all those things or actions, assist me in connecting with the Most High. I have other things, you know. I have my lavender sage here, my Palo Santo. Many things will I used to incorporate my healing, and a lot of the times, for reasons that I could not control, those things were not all accessible to me. And nevertheless, I'm always doing one or two implementing. It's like a daily regimen that you begin to create when you are on such a healing journey. And so, but the last 3 years, I would say, has been highly interrupted in the most low vibrational ways. Again, things out of my control, and even within those things, I do my best to implement my healing tools that assist me to ascend, to heal throughout my journey. But I wanted to say that specifically because the sound healing is imperative to your healing journey. And I wanted to make a big deal about sound healing and how it assists us in healing. So you have your tuning forks, you have your sound bowls, you have your bells. Oh, by the way, I'm Belle. Okay, so you can call me Belle. So part of my name, my birth name. And so I didn't give you our introduction. I'm just, being very raw right now, so it wasn't really important. What's most important is the authenticity that I'm sharing with you right now. Because, for a long time, even through all of that healing, and everyone has their own journey and path that they're on their own different levels of ascension that is necessary. And for me, it has taken a lot to get to this point, where I can be just raw and authentic with my healing journey. And so I just want to make it very clear, because it's imperative that we are using sound healing, frequency healing in our healing journeys. And the best part is this is free. This is free on YouTube and different places, different platforms. A lot of creators are using these healing tools and placing them on their platforms and allowing us to heal collectively. That's like the miracle of it all. So since I've gotten that part out, I also want to move back and forward onto the plant medicine. Okay. Holy Spirit, my highest self, and my highest self is telling me to make sure that I'm informing you that every day, and this is a reminder for me, right? Every day, it is imperative to use some form of sound healing. This is something that I've known for a long time. That's why when I began my healing journey 10 years ago, sound healing and frequencies were imperative. And so I did it every single day. Until the distractions just became way too much. But then I started, doing it like every 2 days, every 3 days. Nah. Every single day, especially if you're experiencing forces outside of you that you do not have control of. So we getting back to it. Okay. And I feel like it was a breakthrough. I know it was a breakthrough. And it could be the breakthrough of the full moon in Aquarius with the sun in Leo. Could it be? Could it be the buck full moon? That's like knucking me, saying, do the work, keep doing the work. And I don't stop the work, okay? I'm never, ever not healing. I'm always healing my mind, my body, my spirit, and my soul. Because, you know, we have been, especially our melanated brothers and sisters, we have been fractured in so many ways. Our soul has been scratched in so many ways, you know. And the majority of us have, like, you know, the war wounds, you know, to prove it. But it's not just physical. When we talk about the soul being fractured and always needing healing and repair, until we find that safe place amongst our soul tribe that we're supposed to be with, right? That's our ultimate goal when you are a light worker. It is. Because everybody is doing this mechanism that's just creating like the infinite figure 8, you know? And it's working, just flowing like DNA, right? Like it's supposed to flow. So I also want to share, that just reminded me, I want to share a photo, an illustration that I made after my Changa session, my first Changa session ever, in Damascus, in Mexico. Okay. So my spirit guides, like oh my God, if you do plant medicine for your healing purposes, for the highest good, serving humanity in the collective, you will see what I mean. It is it's really hard to explain, so I'm gonna allow the illustration to speak to you much more than I can just like carry on. But I was able to connect with my guides in ways that I was unable to connect with these 30-something years in my journey, my earth journey, right? My earth angel journey. Okay. So I'm going to show you. But first I'm going to talk a little more, because I actually like to talk. Especially about something so profound as healing work. The whole world needs healing, you know. I am only one person, you know. I cannot be held accountable for healing everyone, but I do feel a calling to share my healing experiences. So I did my healing work with shamans, traditional shamans, and it was a experience to be experienced. I'll try my best to share some of the footage, which I don't have much because it was very sacred and I didn't want to record it because it's not a It's not for TV. You know, healing is not some plaything, or, you know, it's not just, it can be, you know, it's good for people to see what it looks like when people are having these certain experiences. But I was not willing to share my experience because I wanted it to be sacred, which it is. It was very sacred for me. And this is my first time doing healing work with plant medicine, with toad medicine. And it has tremendously changed my perspective. Even though I still find myself needing to do certain protections for the healing and the protection of my temple, it doesn't take away the connection that I now have with Mami Nadur on a whole nother level. I recommend it. I know most of the time people are just like in order, boom, 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 you know, 1, 2, 3, these are what I recommend, da da da. But, you know, we're just gonna flow with it because this is an impromptu video. And I'm not a professional YouTuber, so I'm giving you the raw and authentic version of parts of my healing journey. So here we are in July 2026, and I recommend, it is very imperative that you select the shaman that you are working with when you are partaking in plant and animal byproducts, healing medicine. It is very imperative that you consult with your spirit guides, consult with your higher self, consult with the Most High, our Creator, and do some research, do some thorough research as much as you can on the shaman that you're working with, because people can become mind controlled. That is a part of my advice. That was the most important thing. Also, there is a preparation that you need to partake in, you need to apply to yourself before you enter this healing work. If you have found a called shaman to practice and do this healing, medicinal healing work with, this holistic healing, then they will have advised you ahead of time that there is a certain procedure that and regimen that you need to follow before you partake in this medicine, because it is a preparation that takes serious, it is a work that calls for serious preparation, where you need to detox the body. So that is something that I actually had only done for like a couple days, and it was not thorough in my experience. Sometimes, you know, people are actually medicine women, medicine men, and not necessarily shamans. So seriously consider that when you are embarking on this journey with healing medicine, plant medicine, animal byproduct medicine. Let's see what else. The third thing I would recommend is that these healers, depending on what level of trauma you have had experience in your life or in your healing journey that led you to this point where you are more open and you're awakened and you are interested in partaking in healing medicine, that's a thing. Certain levels call for different preparations. This is something I wanted to do for, I would say, 2 years. And I just so happened to be in a place that called me, that it was readily available. And I just dove right on in, you know, like the fish that I am, right? So I was ready spiritually, mentally, and apparently physically, to a certain extent physically. But on my next go around, I will be ready. Okay, I will be ready in every way. But it doesn't take away from my experience as a whole. It only taught me some things that I need to consider, right? And they're very necessary. Again, depending on the level of trauma a person has experienced on their healing journey. The third thing I wanted to say, let me back up. Find someone indigenous. Find a reputable indigenous tribe or person that has been practicing this for a very long time. And I definitely met them along the way of my healing journey, or of this process of me partaking in my plant medicine. And it was actually over a course of about 3 or 4 days. So those are the first 2 points. If you're following, you got the first 2. The third point that I wanted to make is when you are planning to partake in plant healing medicine, you also need to have done healing work on your journey yourself. This is big. This is huge, because no one can heal you if you have not already started the healing wheels turning for yourself. It's not going to be a good session. It's going to be very scary. Because this is real shit. Not literal shit, but this is real. This is very real. This is one of the most real phases of your healing journey, is inviting plant medicine. This is very deep. This thing will take you on an experience. If you have never delved in any drugs, street drugs, like I have not, this will take you on an experience that you may not be prepared for. And it's scary. It's scary. But it's healing. And it's necessary. It's very necessary when you have experienced certain levels of trauma. I come to you and I express this with the most honesty that is within my entire being, and I'm a very honest person. Do some healing work yourself. Again, I've been on my healing journey for 10 years. You don't need to be on a healing journey for 10 years. You don't. But you need to have delved in some healing work. I would go as far as to say you need to be actively, daily on your healing journey for at least 2 years. At least 2 years. Working with healing frequencies, tapping in, connecting with your primordial and sentient beings, supporting your highest good and the highest good of the collective of all, connected with your creator. That is within you. That is within the entire world. First. Because this experience will be much more gentle. I had the honor of, after doing my own 3 to 4 days, because it was a bit going on. It was a lot going on when I did my plant medicine, and so it was like one day was like half on, half off. Go to a retreat, go to somebody reputable, and do this in nature. As something else I would totally recommend, because that thing is wild. Okay, back to what I was saying. I had the pleasure of watching others do their ayahuasca, Kambo, and Bufo healing sessions directly in front of me. Over the process of about 2 weeks, I seen at least somewhere around 21 people go through their purging sessions, grieving sessions, and healing sessions of consuming medicine, healing plant medicine. And I have to say, I throw in animal byproduct because that's a part of it. You can't have one without the other. The toad that is excreting this form of medicine as sweat that is healing to our bodies like a venom is an animal. This is a toad, You can call it reptilian, whatever term you want to use, but it's not a plant. The plant is a shanga. And so do some research. Look it up on YouTube. There's a lot of videos where you can actually see people going through these healing experiences. And again, these are very important things I would consider, because I was able to see both sides. I know both sides of partaking in these medicines with a medicine woman, with a shaman, and also I did like sweat lodges in something that looks like a small chimney or a dome cave, and the beating of the drums, experiencing the loudest noises you possibly have experienced or could experience with drumming, the whole ancient indigenous chant of it all, and purging, the whole experience of purging. There's some things I need to do, in my next session that I feel that I didn't experience this time, but I will. because I am not done with my healing journey. None of us are done. Not any of us are done with our healing journey. Once you embark upon a healing journey, this journey is for life, at different levels, at different phases of your human spiritual ascension. And I hope that you can understand exactly what I'm saying, because that's my intention. And so I try to break it down for people who are new to this. With that, all that being said, I want to share with you something, an illustration that I created, an image, a visual that I saw while I was having my Changa experience. This is my first experience with plant medicine, and it was a very beautiful thing. I'll be back in 2 or 3 moments, and I'll be back. Just give me a couple moments. Okay, so I'm an artist to heart, and that's funny, 41, 44 when I came back, so 144. Okay, if you know, you know. If you don't know, don't even worry about it. Look it up. But I just saw a lot in that number. So unintentionally, I'm an artist. Mostly I'm a singer, songwriter. Doing this plant healing medicine is a part of my journey, same as being a singer, etc. Just being an artist, connecting with my nature, what is closest to home to me, to my soul as a whole. I always drew when I was younger, but I wasn't able to fully tap in completely. Again, I experienced traumas, and I'm more than sure I'm not a licensed therapist. I'm more than sure, that is the reason I haven't fully tapped into my artistry. But I'm on the journey nevertheless, right? And I have delved in, as an adult. When I started removing things from my life that did not serve me, people, places, things. And I'm still on that journey, okay? So we're going to get there. And I know you probably are too. We're going to get there. Trust, okay? So this is like the first drawing. This is my book. This is a book I've been coloring in for a couple years, because color therapy is imperative as well on your healing journey. Colorful inspirations filled with affirmations. It says, your rings already exist. All you have to do is fly. Butterfly. Mariposa. So, let me show you. This is a lot of what I used to do when I was younger. I would color in the lines and, or write like bubble letters, large bubble letters, like names, and color it, right? And so I colored this about a year ago. But this is very special to me. As an artist, I need to share. I want to share. And I'm going to share it with you. This is what I drew when I came out of the Changa trance. So it took a few days before I let my artistry, creativity take over. On this day, this was like the 4th day, I was watching others have their experience. Actually, this was the next week. And my memory serves me correctly at this time. The next week, I went to a ranch and I watched 3 more people have their own healing experience. And while I was doing it, I saw, it was one lady in particular. She was very hurt. She had been through a lot of trauma. What it looked like to me was a lot of projections, a lot of deflections were placed upon her, possibly. I don't know the story. I never will, I don't think, and it's not important. But what I experienced was her going through a lot of trauma, and my higher self kept telling me, you know, draw what you saw that you wanted to get out in a creative way. And so this is what I saw through my Changa experience. Huge shout out to the shamans I work with. The biggest shout out to the plant, the animal medicine, and my supportive spiritual beings guiding my higher self, because they're here on the photo. On the image, you see the brown beans to the left and to the right of the head. The head is me. You kind of look like me, right? Anyhow, let's be serious. I was in a trance state, and these beautiful, benevolent beings, very tiny beings, were surrounding me on all sides. They were around my head, my brain. You know, we need our brains to function, right? Well, they were extracting heavy metal poisoning, etc., that I had experienced. And I know for a fact that that's what it was. They were extracting trauma. They were extracting all lower vibrational energies, matter that did not belong in my brain. It did not belong in my nervous system. That's what they were doing. I had never seen something like this in my life. To even draw, you know, to come up with this. So the blue is the extraction of the energy. Let's call it negative energy, low vibrational energy that they were extracting. The red vein, let's call it a vein, because it looks like a tube to me. That's what it looked like. The red is them implementing more positive energy into my system. I needed that. And I was on my side. I couldn't do anything but curl up on my side. And they were implementing all the good stuff right back in. It was a lot of blue stuff, right? A lot of bad stuff. And I drew this flower. I never felt so connected to Mother Earth than in this moment in my life. I talked about it. I sing about it. I meditated about it. I imagined it, but not quite like this. What this says is This is a quote. The quotes, it lists Jim Carrey as the creator of the quote. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. But shout out to the awakened and the ascended Jim Carrey, wherever you are. Flowers don't worry about how they're going to bloom. They just open up and turn toward the light, and that makes them beautiful. That's the quote. This is giving very much needed healing. Don't wait till the last minute to start your healing journey. Don't do it. Your soul is calling you to heal right now. I can't say every being on this planet is hurting, but we've all experienced hurt. We're all experiencing manipulation that causes pain. Energy manipulation that causes different levels of pain and different forms of energy manipulation. Don't wait. You know something does not feel good, so get started. I started with the Most High, my Creator. I started with myself. I started with my archangels. Now I work with the entire council. I work with my ascended ancestors who are with me. And we're all doing collective work. All the light warriors across this planet. I started with my higher self. My body first was hurt, you know. That's when I started. I knew my body was hurt and my body needed healing. I went to the doctors. But when you have injuries that won't heal, as a physical manifestation of severe pain, start with your spiritual self. Go to your spiritual self. You know, tap into your spirituality, because somewhere right there is where you're going to find the answer to the beginning of resolving your internal problems. You will find out, you will know, you will seek, you will find the answers. And so I'm so excited about healing with plant medicine. I cannot make it up. Like, I'm very serious about this, and this has brought me on a whole new level, whole new phase of what healing means to me. Something I enjoyed during this process is, before I took medicine, I was told to take deep breaths, one to the left, one to the right, and one to the center, and say, for mama, for papa, and one deep breath in and out for me. That stuck with me. So thank you to the person that walked me through some of the healing I needed to do, that I had to do. I was called to do it, and I'm called to keep doing it. And as I do it, I want to put my best authentic self forward because it's imperative. I'll be back with some footage, y'all, if I can find a little bit, you know. But I wish healing upon everyone, including anyone who thinks they're my worst enemy. I wish healing amongst the collective as a whole. It don't mean trust your enemies, y'all. It just means the whole collective needs healing, and I wish you all healing. I do. So thank you for watching this video. If you watched it all the way through, I will be back. I promise. One love.